These are two of our coaches here at Diamond Sports. This is Devin Hurt and Steve Miller. Steve is the one with the real nice hairdo. Devin is the one that doesn't want you to see his hairdo. So these are guys that do a great job of coaching for us here at the Academy, and we're very fortunate to have them here on staff. We want to continue on a little bit here talking about the bat path, but we're going to talk about swinging up and swinging down. I've heard coaches sometimes say, hey, everybody has to swing up, or then other coaches say everybody has to swing down. I think the problem with that is that each hitter is unique and has different problems with the swing. And I've found this in college ball, high school ball, pro ball, and I think you have to be a little flexible. It's not a cookie cutter type of approach. You need to be aware of the hitter's swing and the things he needs to do, because what we're really looking for is to keep the head of the bat in the path of the ball. We're not looking to be at angles to it so that we're cutting the ball or and then having ineffective hits. We're trying to get line drives. Ted Williams used to say, hey, you have to swing up. You have to swing up at the ball. Charlie Lau said you had to swing down. The problem is they were talking about two different parts of the swing. One of them was talking about going from here to the ball. The other one was talking about out as you go into the path of the ball with the head of the bat. They weren't really arguing about the same thing, and you have to be careful about that when you're teaching anything, that you're talking about apples and apples. When you swing up, I have had hitters who are so extremely down. Devin might demonstrate here one where you really are extreme down, as we talked about in the last video, where you're coming right down through the path of the ball. A lot of those guys just pound the ball into the ground. They're just killing the worms out in front. And I had, in fact, two guys come in this past week who said, you know, we're grounding out every time, 6 and 7 times. And these are good high school hitters. But they had been told that, hey, you got to swing down more to get backspin. They weren't getting backspin. They were getting a lot of bad ground balls. So I told them, I said, look, the idea of swinging down is to keep you from putting a loop in your swing and swinging up too much. And it's good if that's what you do. If I had guys that were real big loopy hitters that swing up all the time, I might even tell them, hey, you need to swing down more. And it really works for them. They think they're swinging down a lot, but they're actually staying in the path of the ball. Other guys who swing up or down too much, I may say, you got to swing up. And I'm not looking in either of those instances for extremes to up or down. I'm looking for them to get into the path of the ball. I think, Devin, you've seen that with some of your young hitters where you have to tell them exaggerate down because they swing up too much. And vice versa. So it's something we look for. You have to know what you're looking for in the swing and be flexible when you approach the player, and not give him something that is going to give him a swing that when he gets in the game, he's going to get 6 or 7 ground balls. Okay, so along that line, when we're talking about either swinging up or swinging down, I've also, there's been a kind of a teaching method that's been going around that guys have looked at video and they've done the slow motion, and they get to seeing that as the hitter turns his body, go ahead, Devin, and do that, as he turns, as he gets in here, that actually the head of the bat does drop below the hands as the hitter swings. The problem with that is now they start to teach that. They say, well, we want you to let the head of the bat drop and then come up this way. The problem is that's not what happens with young hitters. They drop it way under, and then they get a big loop in their swing in back of them, and then they start to come up. And once again, we're not hitting line drives. We're not driving the ball again. Oftentimes, coaches, even in Major League Ball or Pro Ball, have to say, look, we're doing things or we're saying things to trick the mind. We know that the head of the bat drops under when you're swinging, for the most part, as you get in here. But you can't teach that to young hitters. If you teach them to drop the head of the bat and go here, you've got a swing that against better pitching is looping. They can't stay in the path of the ball, and they're a mess when they get up there. So we have done this in pro ball for years, in college ball for years. It's just a standard. You think down to the ball and then long out through the field. And it works, and it causes guys to hit the ball well. The teaching method that we use where we say, hey, you got to think more down on the ball, for most of us that works well, because the natural tendency of a swing is to swing up. But again, what we're really seeking, remember, is not the up or the down, but to stay level with the path of the ball. Now hear that very carefully. We're not talking about level with the ground. Because if you think about this, a guy is standing on a mound, right? And he's throwing downhill. So just like Ted Williams said, I want to be out front swinging up here. That's so that I can stay in the path of the ball because the angle is slightly down. Now if you read Ted Williams carefully though, folks, you would see that he said, if you have the ability to hit the ball out, you think up. He said, if you don't have the ability to hit the ball out, then you think more down and think line drive. So even Ted Williams, as much as people say, oh, well, he said to swing up, if you read his book carefully, he said, well, wait a minute. The qualification to that was, if you don't have the power to hit it out, then you think line drive. So consequently, even he, in his moments where he was giving in to the guy that couldn't hit home runs, said, you got to think more down. But both, we mentioned Charlie Lau earlier and Ted Williams, that they were discussing, in my mind, two different parts of the swing. Again, if you read Ted Williams' book, that first part, he had a picture in there of a guy with an axe chopping down at the tree. Okay, so even he, who was the big advocate of swinging up, from here to the ball was down, just like you see Devin do here, comes down, and then planes out, takes the bat out through the field. Today now we've discussed swinging up and swinging down. Remember that what we're really looking for is having that bat in the path of the ball. Next time we're going to talk about timing and getting the front foot down.